I don't hear anything either.
All aboard!
There it is.
Next stop, Chicago Junction.
Yes, it's time for this month's broadcast of Chicago Junction, the program that takes you through the wonderful world of trains with the help of our panel of experts. I am your announcer, Brian Ballou, and here is our boss, the head of the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Chief Electrical Engineer, Mr. John DeVito.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Chicago Junction from the John DeVito Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Wednesday, September the 8th, the year 2021. Today, the panel will be talking about railroads and model railroads. And now to start today's broadcast, here's our announcer, Mr. Brian.
Well, thank you, John. I'd like to start off with, yes, my name is Brian Ballou. I am a rail fan, model railroader in both O and G, and retired Navy, former railroader as a conductor engineer, and Operation Lifesaver presenter. I belong to several organizations cross country and just like the rails. And to my left, we have Mr. Dave DeRuska.
Howdy. Dave DeRuska. I am a retired locomotive engineer. Last place I worked was Metra, but I worked for a number of other railroads. I am the Vice President and Program Chairperson of the Black Hawk Chapter of the National Railway Historical Society, where I am also spearheading Chicago Railroad History Month. October is Chicago Railroad History Month, remember that. And let's see, what else do I do? Oh, I do our Facebook page, and that's pretty much it.
Hi, my name's Kevin. I'm a foamer. While my cohorts are giggling. My name is Kevin Berry. I'm a retired Chicago police sergeant. I'm a director with the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club out in New Lenox, Illinois. Lifetime Lionel collector and operator. 2 of my 3 grandchildren are addicted to Lionel trains. The other one's a little too young. She won't turn 23 weeks old until 3 days from now, but she will be brought up properly.
Brainwashed.
She won't realize she's being brainwashed.
That's the best kind.
Oh, of course.
She might wind up with a Frozen train instead of a Thomas, but she's going to have a Lionel train.
There you go. Well, to get this underway, I'm going to start off with a bit of good news. As of yesterday, September 7th, 2021, a date that won't go down in infamy. No, a new steam locomotive passed its final check-in with the FRA.
Woohoo.
And she will be delivered on Monday the 13th. She'll take her trip for where she's been rebuilt in Elgin, or outside Elgin, to the Hoosier Valley Railroad in North Judson. And the engine is Bach Lumber Company number 1. We know the owner because we've had him on the program in our early years. His name's Fred Haberkamp. He did Columbia Spinning Metal, which is on the Force Drive. And basically, from when he bought the parts in California, it has been 9 years.
Wow.
And so Good. Once it arrives in North Judson, they will be firing it up and they will start their training period. And they will be getting their certification through the short line, the Chesapeake in Indiana. and then hopefully before the end of October, have some nice little passenger runs going.
Perhaps you would tell our radio audience what type of locomotive it is.
It is what they call a Forney. It is a 044. No pilot wheels, 4 driving wheels, and then basically a 4-wheel truck under the oil bunker and water tank.
And it is oil-fired. Oil-fired, not coal.
Oil-fired, yes. They did oil-fired. The Bach Lumber and Company was in Florida. Built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. Well, wait a minute, I got some more here. Even got a picture you can try to put up on...
Okay. You give me the link and I'll grab it.
But, Bach Lumber Company, built in 1908 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. It has a unique look. Actually, the style is quite familiar because these were the locomotives that powered originally our rail system. And the IC commuter service on the electric line. What became the electric line.
And the Rock Island and the Burlington.
Yep.
They all use Forneys.
That is correct. Even New York.
New York.
You said new. Is this a new engine built from the plans, or is this one resurrected from the grave?
This is the one that has been resurrected like Frankenstein.
Very spooky.
A lot of parts.
Alive, I tell you.
No, right there. That's what it looks like.
Like the paint job.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Oh yeah, Fred did a beautiful. That's Fred in the cab. But it started in Gainesville. After a year of service, its original owner sold it to the Hanbury Lumber Company, and later to Maddox Foundry and Machines, both in Archer, Florida. And in '65, it was sold to B.J. Pollard of Detroit, Michigan, an apparent collector of steam locomotives. By the 80s, it found its way to Maryland. At some point, it finally got disassembled, awaiting its final fate in a scrapyard in Pennsylvania. It was rescued from the scrapper's torch. It found a temporary home in California until purchased by Fred. The parts were actually in Sacramento at the locomotive shops, SP. A lot of love into this. Runs at 160 psi. And I know Monday when I finish my shift at the garden, I'll be making my way to Indiana. That's the good news.
Okay.
So we'll keep it with. Here's the picture for you. It's at I believe it's on the Hoosier Valley website.
Yeah. Okay. I'll grab it off the web.
Yes, sir. Okay.
The interwebs. What? Want me to recount my adventures over the weekend?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. Well, this past weekend was the grand opening of the Pullman Administration Building. Well, basically the whole Pullman area, park area there. The Administration Building. They had the Hotel Florence partially open, the first floor open for visitors. They had poster sales going on at the Historic Pullman Foundation Building, which used to be the Park Service administration building that has since moved to the new admin building, and they had 3 Pullman-built historic rail cars open for exhibition at the Metro 111th Street station, and I participated by standing underneath the 111th Street station viaduct, listening to traffic, fire trucks, motorcycles, this and that, and giving out safety instructions to all the passengers, all the people who were going up to look at the train. They sold out tickets almost immediately. Yeah, people were in line from like 7 o'clock, and they didn't open the ticket tent until 9. So they went fast. The first day they were only allowing 10 people per viewing every 15 minutes. Sunday they decided to increase the number of people to 20, which was problematic because obviously the cars are not designed to have people walking through them. So our job was to marshal people, to keep them in line, let them go in groups. And Saturday was difficult. Sunday went a lot better. And I was actually glad to be working downstairs rather than up in the cars, because the guys that were working up in the cars got hammered big time. So it was an enjoyable weekend. Everybody had a good time. People were very impressed with the cars, very impressed with the event. The Park Service drew in people from their system from all over the country to help out. So there were a lot of people that looked like Smokey the Bear walking around. And
all right.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, and it's nice to have this asset in Chicago now. We actually have some place that is involved in railroad history.
Yeah.
You know, aside from going to the Chicago History Museum and looking at the Pioneer and an L car, you know, you can go here and learn all about the history of the labor movement. You can learn about the Pullman Porters. You can learn about the Pullman factory. Sunday morning, I got up early and I was watching Channel 7 News with the sound off, and they had a crawl at the bottom of the screen where they give all the news, and they said that in the late 1880s, the Pullman Porters went on strike, and they started Labor Day. Well, I mean, that's about as incorrect as you can get. The Pullman Porters didn't unionize until the
30s.
The 30s, yeah. They started in the 20s. It took them 10 years to get a union recognized. The strike was actually the Pullman workers, and it was a violent strike. I mean,
they called in. Lincoln's son was working for him.
Yeah. It was stacked up against the workers as stacked as you can get. They went on strike. They consulted with Eugene Debs and his American Railway Union. Debs encouraged them not to go on strike, but they went on strike anyways. When they went on strike, Debs said, okay, we're going to throw the full weight of our union behind you. So his union basically refused to move any train with Pullman rail cars on it. So what the railroads did is they put a Pullman car on every train. Didn't matter what kind of train it was. So it got pretty violent here in Chicago. There were cars burned in the yards. Trains were stopped. I know on the IC they were stopping suburban trains and pulling engineers off the train. Then it turned into a nationwide boycott and strike. There was going to be a national...
And troops were called
Right.
out.
Then the government freaked, and they sided with the railroads. They had an injunction, and they called in the troops, and they shot a bunch of people down and solved their problem right away. Pullman didn't last much longer than that. He died not too long after that.
And if you want to see his grave, if you do a test through it, you're going to see a lot of concrete down there.
Yeah, right.
Rails. He did not want his body taken.
Right. It's funny. I was hear all this honking and stuff on Cottage Grove, and I look and they're having a parade. So I guess the aldermen had organized this parade with all these antique cars and car clubs. And first car goes by, it's some guy dressed up like George Pullman, riding in the back, waving at everybody. So I said, "Get him now! Go get him! We missed him the first time."
I can't address the original Pullman strike, but there was never a strike involving Pullman that didn't get violent. I was a police officer for the last Pullman strike, and one striker physically threw himself under a car and caused his legs to be run over and broken.
Well,
I've seen California,
yes.
Port Chicago, north of San Francisco in the Suisun Bay area, off big San Francisco Bay. That is a big ammunition dump.
Yeah.
People were protesting the moving of bombs.
Right.
They figured they can lay across the tracks and the train's gonna stop.
Did it?
No.
Oh, God.
Yes, the gentleman lost his legs.
It made the national news. I remember seeing it.
I was the security team up there. Called off the ship. They called us to help provide the security around the ammo dump.
Now, who was running the train itself? Was it management?
Yep. No.
No.
We're the engineer. That is the qualified engineer on base.
Oh, okay.
He runs out to the SB yard
Yeah.
and picks up the cars, and they bring it in. They travel at 20 to 25 mile an hour, and they don't stop.
For anybody or anything.
That's true. Unless somebody really dumb puts a gas truck on the track.
Oh, yeah.
That's happened a couple times.
Really?
And they had people trying to break into the boxcars. Cops got wise to that real quick.
Yeah.
As I remember seeing that film, I want to say the engine was either white or gray, and the only labeling on it was DOD. And I mean, the guy was standing on the tracks, looked at the engineer, and laid down across the tracks. You know?
There's this common fallacy among the uninitiated that a train can stop whenever it wants. You know, it's like a car. And they don't realize that, you know, it don't do that.
Yeah, just like, geez, this month, National Rail Safety Month.
All right.
And that's going to be fun. There'll be a lot of, hopefully there'll be some blitzes going on in some of the stations.
Yeah, those unfamiliar with the Metro Safety Blitz, they show up, and everybody that runs in front of the train when the gates come down gets a talking to, maybe a ticket.
Oh yeah, the police are there, on one side of the gates or other, usually on both sides, and I've seen police cars on the other side catch the guy that, like in Park Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody trying to get across when the gates go down there, right there on Prospect.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that as soon as the lights start flashing, you're supposed to stop your car, or you're not supposed to walk across the tracks.
It's not run real fast.
Right? It's like a red light, It's like, no, don't go.
Yeah, it's...
Although nowadays red lights are meaningless to people driving around. They just blow through them.
Yeah, I mean, you see people doing the turns over, and, 10 seconds later, they're still turning. Anyway, and it doesn't make a job easier.
Nope.
But yeah, so we got that coming up. I'll be setting up a small display at the garden, in the railroad garden. And like this weekend, we're doing the Railroading Merit Badge down at the Chicagoland Lionel Club.
I have a friend who volunteers at the Botanic Gardens, and I told him to Look out for Brian.
Well, that's it. That's what they do. They look out for me.
Look out for Brian.
Well, they look out for him, and they look out for him.
There's for him and for him.
Well, you never know which side of the mischief coin Brian's going to fall on.
That is true. That is true.
You don't know if he's the Joker or the Jester.
You know.
Or the Space Cowboy.
Ooh.
Why so serious? You got anything else, Senor Dave?
I do, but I'll wait. I'll step back and let others.
Little bit, a couple of things. While everybody else is crying over the passing of MTH trains, there was almost a full-page article in the September issue of Classic Toy Trains stating that part of MTH will survive as MTH Parts and Sales LLC. So parts should be available.
When they start making them, yeah.
Another portion of MTH is reorganizing at Elk Ridge, Maryland, as MTH Electric Trains. They will produce select, in quotes, Rail King and Premier O-Gauge units. Those are the special ones that have been popping up at different hobby shops. MTH went to the hobby store owner and said, "We'll make you a special run. What do you want?" One of the guys at the club happens to be a police officer, and he's spending all his overtime checks snatching up one from Berwyn, one from Mr. Muffin. Atlas, as everybody knows, got roughly 20% of the tools and tooling and dies from MTH, and there's another buyer who has not been publicly named. That was expected to be released sometime, towards the end of summer. So that should be hitting the news momentarily. Classic Toy Train newsletter came out yesterday morning. And
what do you finish?
Brian, newsflash. Brian has something.
Okay. Brian always has better sources than I have.
Yeah.
There is a company that is producing laser-cut cardboard buildings. And the one they show is very impressive, and it is in French, and I don't speak French, but it appears to be imprimerie, which would indicate that it's a printing shop, but it's a nice-looking building. Gray roof, gray window frames, predominantly white detail items, and a soft yellow, like a yellow chiffon building, and it's made out of cardboard. But it's pretty good looking. Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railway and Steam Rail Institute will be running their Christmas trains. Cuyahoga Valley opened their book on September 8th. I would imagine the Steam Rail Institute will also be doing that shortly.
Yes, we talked about that last month.
Okay. They are both requiring everybody to wear a mask, or you won't be allowed on the train. And Metra is making a big thing about announcing the fact that they are adding extra trains on the Rock Island division because of increased ridership. And they are probably adding trains on the other divisions as well, but apparently they didn't stress that enough, because when I listened to the story on ABC here in Chicago, they only mentioned the Rock Island. And that's all I have for the moment, sir.
Did you get catalog number 2?
Yes.
Have you looked through catalog number 2.
Briefly.
There are at least 10 items in there that are MTH.
I don't normally get MTH catalogs, so I wouldn't recognize them.
The Erie belts.
Okay?
Okay, we'll go with them. Those are the Fairbanks Morse passenger units.
Right.
They have a train set in there called the Keystone.
I remember that, yeah.
And there was a new station in there. I can show you what last year's packaging looked like at Chicagoland in different colors that it was. Same station. They have nice open platform coaches for Strasburg Railroad. Those are MTH. The passenger cars, New Haven, those heavyweights, MTH. Let's see, what else? Oh, they have the Rail King Genesis unit to make it a shorty Genesis at 14 inches, like the F3s, and that's MTH.
So MTH
I have-
lives on.
Have noticed those, but I don't normally get an MTH catalog. I am trying to live inside of my house. I'm not trying to be forcibly evicted to the garage.
I understand. Also, you notice that they have DD35s in there.
Yeah.
The first doubled engine units. And it's funny, they only painted it in UP colors and then added a couple of other paint schemes to it of fallen flags.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't add any painted in SP colors. SP bought the demonstrators, including there is a B. Believe it or not, they actually have a B unit to go with it.
That is probably more of a marketing ploy than anything else, because they're going to have people screaming, well, why isn't this, and next year that paint scheme will pop up.
No, I understand, but like I was saying, I know you're Lionel through and through.
No, sir, that's not true.
No. Howsomever. To let you know that Lionel's actually picking up some of their modeling too.
I sent an email to a gentleman at Lionel and asked if they were going to bring out anything in Metra coat of arms, and the response was there are currently no plans, but somebody is going to realize that with MTH gone, nobody is producing Metra, and Metra's fleet of engines is expanding, and somebody's going to get smart.
Well, remember, Atlas is the one that picked up some. They had the listing of what they had. You know, it's funny because also the only switcher that Lionel made was the NW2. In this one, you will notice there's an SW8 in there. They have it in Bicentennial.
Yes.
The complete bicentennial train of the Indiana and Calumet Railway. But yeah, you see, so the SW8 and that FM Erie built is the first FM that Lionel's ever produced. Now, 2 weeks ago, on the 25th, Chip Pugh sent out the email gotten from Jennifer DeAngelis in Washington, D.C., OLI, to let them know that they are getting a limited edition, they're producing a limited edition 50th anniversary model locomotive. Next year will be the 50th anniversary of Operation Lifesaver. It started in 1972. And they are producing it in N, HO, and O. And this is what it looks like, and it's being made by Atlas. Nice GP40.
Mm-hmm.
What
Now, you have to pre-order them. The correct date for the pre-order, the last day, is September 8th. Which
Oops.
is today.
Oops.
So you had less than 2 weeks to order it.
You heard it here last.
That is right. You know, we're right on top of
Right on
things.
top of it.
what date was that information released?
On August 25th.
Okay.
So they only gave you 2 weeks to order it. Now remember, these people are working down in Washington, so
Take it with a grain of salt.
there you go. And, but, you know, this is what the unit's going to look like.
Yeah, put your glasses on.
Yeah, I got to
Dave.
put my cheaters on.
It's not a Twinkie, it's an engine.
For the radio audience,
Well,
Dave is putting on his glasses. If you can get the case open.
See, it says, I'm excited to share with you that the Atlas Model Railroad Company just released pre-order options for a commemorative Operations Lifesaver 50th Anniversary Model, NHOO. Please share this information on Model Train and help get the word out. Note all orders are due September 8th, 2021. Only pre-orders will be accepted. So I guess post-orders.
Forget it.
I like the fact that they chose to use the 50 as the engine number. They actually put 50 up in the number boards. Cute little detail. 50 on the nose, 50 up in the number boards. Big
I mean
50
like the GP40 that was done by Chessie?
That yellow looks like a work train.
Yeah, it's not a gold. It's more like a maize gold, maize yellow. I mean, when Lionel did the
Chessie 50.
the Chessie 50, that was a gold.
Well, they used the GP. They used the Jeep 9 for it. Anyway, yes, I mean there are some actual yellow on there, not gold, like on the plows. But I'm looking at the design, going, how long did they really think about that one?
One coffee break.
So,
It's basic, but I mean,
yeah, it is basic. All right, now, Groman Museum up in Milwaukee
Yes.
is, located in the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Is opening up a new exhibit on September 10th, which will be Friday. I was going to go to the opening, unfortunately. That came to a stop. I was given something else to do. And it's the art of the railroad and the art of place photographs by David Collar. He will be there at the grand opening event on the 10th from 6 to 8:30. The exhibit will remain open until December 19th.
I believe if you're interested in that presentation, they're going to be Zooming it. It's going to be like a discussion.
That is correct.
And I believe the Center for Railroad Photography and Art, if you go to their website, they're
the ones that helped put it together.
Right. They should have the information if you want to see the Zoom meeting.
And for more information, you can go to the GromanMuseum.org or call 414-277-2300. The museum is located at 1000 North Broadway in Milwaukee.
Beautiful downtown Milwaukee.
Yes.
Right.
And the nice thing is, you don't have to pay the parking meters, and they don't charge entrance fee into the museum on that night.
It's a great museum if you're not familiar with Groman. It sort of specializes in industrial paintings.
Industry. I mean, they got paintings from the 16 and 1500s.
Yeah.
All about industry in that area.
Steel making.
I mean, they even got a nice painting of an old-fashioned paper boy out there hawking his wares.
Yeah.
Now, the building that the museum is in,
yes,
is that the building that used to be the brewery, or is that a different building?
No,
it's different.
It was not a brewery. It was it started out as a bank, treasury. This is the story on it.
Because there's one. My son looked at MSI, and one of the buildings on campus used to be either a brewery or headquarters for one of the.
Well, you got. If you walk 2 blocks down, you see one of the office buildings for Paps.
That's it.
That's now an apartment building.
Yeah, not too far away is the whole campus for the brewing company.
Yeah.
Paps, and that's all been slowly being rehabbed and repurposed.
Yeah, I mean, they spent some money. I mean, on the parapets surrounding the building, you got workers, bronze statues that were made in the Philippines. Artists in there. They had 2.5 high tall models of them, and they decided to make it 7 feet tall. So this way they go around.
Right.
You know, they're taking the place of the gremlins that are
gargoyles.
Huh?
Gargoyles
or gargoyles. Gremlins, gargoyles. You know, one's bigger than the other. That's all.
Well,
gargoyles spit.
They do.
But yeah, it's a wonderful museum, and it is worth going to see.
Yeah, and Milwaukee is really turning out to be a really
They're
enjoyable
really
city.
Up
yeah.
Now they got the trolley running downtown.
Right. Yeah, get on the trolley, hop the trolley, drive, go around.
Still
free.
Yes.
I think they had their Lakefront Fest either last weekend or this weekend coming up.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because there was a big thing about it on the news.
But anyway,
they had a big festival over this past weekend in Milwaukee.
Okay, well, it's this weekend then.
Cheesehead Fest.
They have a lot of things going up there. They have German Fest is a big thing, and then Irish Fest, and then Still Chainsaws. Still Chainsaw has a big, I believe it's a week long. They have their American lumberjack competition up there.
And also in the middle of July, they have the Italian Fest. And when I was with WJJG, I used to go up there and broadcast right from the grounds of Italian Fest up there in Milwaukee. I did that for about 5 years. So Milwaukee has a lot of great entertainment during the summertime. The Italia Fest, the German Fest, the Irish Fest. They have all kinds of great doings up there in the town of Milwaukee.
Do they have Polish Fest?
I think they do. I'm not. I don't remember, but I know I was involved with the Italia Fest because Joe Gentile was very good friends with the guy that ran the Italia Fest, Paul Iannella, and every year I leave here in Chicago about 2 in the morning, drive up to Milwaukee, set up all the broadcasting equipment, and go on the air by 1 o'clock.
I may be visiting that fine city at the end of the month. Go visit one of my former conductors who's now an engineer for Amtrak.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ride up with him on the train and spend a couple days up there.
Oh. Actually, it's not nice. It is a nice place.
Yeah.
They've cleaned it up. It's cleaned up quite well.
Oh, if you go to the what is it? The first ward, which used to be all industrial warehouses and stuff. It's all been converted to condos, and there's expensive shops down there, and you know, if you can afford that kind of stuff. And you can see the old Northwestern swing bridge. It's in a permanent open position.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they actually fixed up the bridge tender's house. You can't go in it, but it's all nice and got flowers around it.
So,
You know.
oh, like the walkaway.
yeah, it's she.
Yeah, in fact, what was it? I was reading somewhere. One of the lines along here, they're planning, make another high trail, like 606.
On the north side? I wonder if it's going to be the old Weber line. I wonder if it's going to be the old Weber line. Northwestern had a Weber line that ran between Mayfair and Evanston.
Right.
And I guess they still have a switch engine that works up there. I guess I got a few industries that they still spot. I remember working the Skokie switch run up there, and there was a lot of, especially printing companies and all sorts of different operations that they used to switch out. It was really busy.
I remember the only time I went down there was twice a week, I guess it was, when I was working out of Waukegan.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd take the road down and end up at Fannie Mae.
Yeah.
And the lumber yard.
Right.
We drop off the lumber, drop off the sugar, and then we head back out. And went down one time. Son of a... I wanted to so bad. That car was right on the rail.
Oh, yeah, right.
I really wanted. We called the cops.
Yeah, they used to have that problem with the at the Tribune and the Sun-Times. People would park underneath there and park on the tracks, and they'd have to get somebody to tow the car off. And had that happen on the Blue Island Loop sometimes. You know, people would park over there on that runaround.
Yeah.
You know, too close to the tracks, and tempted always to take a few taillights off, but.
I know. Yeah. Well, you know, it was just, I did what, our 12:35 run, last train out of Chicago Terminal,
Yeah.
going up to Waukegan.
Yeah.
We were coming into Wilmette, and nothing was going on. So we took off, and all of a sudden you could feel the engineers slowing down. We come up to, I guess it was Indian Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently a lady decided to make a right turn. When she got
see how far she could go.
She rode down the track into the cut. Didn't make it over the crossover switch.
Well, it wasn't lined for her route.
But the nice thing was, at least we could get the tow truck in the cops.
Yeah, right.
Because it was where the entrance was at the far end.
Okay.
where they bring the service vehicles in. But yeah, she's like, what's going on?
Well, people do that on the South Chicago branch all the time.
You know, when they say turn now,
Yeah, right.
she did.
Yeah, don't believe everything on your map in the car, you know.
Was she just disoriented, or did she have a snoot full?
Well, yeah, well, she's disoriented because she had a snootful. But yeah, I mean, it's
There was
the stuff. We could tell you stuff, and you ain't gonna believe it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I saw a guy try to drive down the tracks north of Lake Street and south of Chicago Avenue, over by where the fueling point is for the city, and he took that Volvo. And it was a Volvo station wagon. It was before SUVs were popular. And he drove about 15 feet before the tires slipped off the rail. And he thought he was turning in. He turned about 30 foot before he should have turned. And I had to drag him out of the car. And when the UP commuter hit the Volvo, that train should have played for the Bears, because it kicked that Volvo a good 30 yards. I know, it's routine for you guys.
Well,
But I mean,
no, trust me, we're always amazed.
Yeah.
it was the first time I ever saw a Volvo fly like an empty beer can. And the guy's he's crying, my car, my car. I says, you're lucky I pulled you out of your car, or they could bury you in what's left of your car. And the only thing that stopped the Volvo was it banged into the big silver control box. So he probably screwed that up too.
Did you know Oscar Berg?
Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar. Yeah. So I'm working with Oscar Berg after the one of the big snowstorms that we had, and we're coming down into Fox River Grove down the hill, and I look and I see a car on the tracks, and I'm like, Oscar, that guy's not moving. You know, he's. Well, we whacked that car. This guy standing next to it, waving his arms. Next thing you know, he dives out of the way. We hit his car, and he was a carpenter, and he had all these saw blades, circular saw blades in the trunk, and these things flew in every direction, like ninja stars.
Ballistic circular saw blades.
Yeah, so they said, is the car in the clear yet? Leave the firemen and continue on. So they leave me with this poor guy, and he's like, oh, he's crying, and I'm like, well, don't worry. I said, the railroad will pay for your car. Finally, the police show up. Where's the train? I said, it left. Who are you? I'm a member of the crew. Was this car on the tracks when you hit it? Yes. So they arrested the guy. Oh,
And
he
sent
had a
him-
bad day.
And sent him the bill for the damage to the engine.
No damage to the engine, trust me.
We had my first one. I was working the auto job up to Janesville
Yeah.
and back. And we were just coming out of Janesville, going up to Harvard. And nice foggy morning. And we came upon this road crossing, and we had just crossed over it. And I heard, boom! One of those small Jeeps, Suzuki,
Yeah.
ran into the side,
jeez.
hit the fuel tank, back corner, and trust me, Suzuki do break apart. They sent me back. Oh, this is your first accident. Go back and get all the information.
You wonder why they have those reflective things on the sides of railroad cars and locomotives.
Make them easier to see so you can line up when you for your
right,
impact.
right. Right.
It's like the big roundel on the side of the Spitfire
Yeah.
at the beginning of World War II. They were wondering why how many Spitfires were getting shot down. It was right over the fuel tank. They gave the Germans a bullseye. The Americans did the same thing with the Sherman tank. The star on the side of the Sherman tank.
Yeah.
Dead center over the gas tank. If you look at the Sherman tanks from like late 43, they've got an extra piece of armor plate welded on the side, both sides of the tank, or both sides of the hull, and the star is moved further back. So they take the aim point off the fuel tank.
What else you got there, Brian?
Oh, let's see. Well, Metra setting up meetings, discuss UP North Bridge project. They're finally going to do the North Line.
Oh, okay.
Going to have to, raise the bridges,
Right.
and it's going to start. They're going to work to start September 9th.
Yeah, those when they elevated the tracks, that was like in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah,
So those bridges have been around for a long time.
and a lot of it's because of the maximum heights now that they're actually kind of forcing the issue because they automatically raise the heights on the trailers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to stuff a 13.6 trailer under an 11.8 viaduct.
Yeah, I saw when I was working there at Pullman, they had a truck come up to the bridge, and he decided it wasn't going to fit. He was having a heck of a time backing up, trying to go some other way. I don't know if 115th Street is higher or not.
I know when they did it when they finally did the Northwest Line.
Now they eliminated one of the tracks on the North Line. It's not triple track anymore. It's double track.
It's triple track up to Ravenswood, I think.
Okay.
Or Maine.
Is it? No, I don't know. I thought they cut it all back from Evanston all the way down to Clybourne. Yeah, the UP, they don't want to have extra tracks lying around.
Oh, why do that?
Nothing to do with them.
Dave, to answer your question, I think a truck has to go north on Cottage Grove all the way to 95th Street.
Wow.
Because the other ones are shorter.
Right.
Probably the lowest bridge, lowest overpass is right there by White Sox Park.
Okay.
Because, if a week goes by that a truck either has to stop or loses the top 6 inches of the box, that's an exceptional week.
Now, I know they raised some of the bridges on the old Rock Island, the Metro Rock Island line, but I don't think they raised the bridges on the old Pennsy line through there.
No, they didn't. They're going to start to replace the 120-year-old bridges. The phase replacing 11 bridges and retaining walls. So if there's any 3-track there, it's going to be gone.
Yeah, I think what they might do in some cases is they're going to use that line that they vacated and actually put rail back in so they can take one track at a time and still have the capability of having north and south tracks.
Yeah, they figure the construction will expected to begin in 2023 and be finished by 2027.
Hey, the 175th anniversary of the first train to run from Chicago.
Yeah.
Now, both of you gentlemen were engineers. The vertical rise on the engine hasn't changed that much in the last 20 years, correct?
No.
So, they don't, when they redo the bridges, they don't have to add extra they don't have to replace the whole bridge to add vertical clearance for the engines. They just gotta.
Well, it's just basically traffic bridges. It's all the east-west bridges along the North Line. No trains run underneath it. It's all just traffic.
And the last
Vehicular traffic.
the last new rail bridge that I saw being constructed is the one they put in out on 130th Street in Torrance at the Ford plant, and that thing was just a monster.
Well,
It is a monster.
the thing is that the locomotives aren't hard, but the rail cars certainly are. I mean, now that they have double stacks, two containers stacked up on a car that's where the problem comes in.
Because the containers are, have gone from 12 foot to, 15? It's like 14.8 or something like that.
When you have to go down a line that has low bridges, they give you paperwork that says what the height of the car is, and if your conductor has any brains and he sees a high car in there, they got to kick it out before you go down there. And there have been instances like on the old Illinois Central, the CN line that runs towards Chicago from Markham. There have been a few cars that have made it past the high car.
McCormick Place.
Yeah. Well, McCormick Place, I think there's enough room to fit. It's just the other bridges.
They were having problems. Remember where they were getting some of the new tri-levels that were higher.
Yeah.
And they weren't paying attention. And trust me.
They were creating convertibles.
Yes.
Kensington Avenue, south of 115th Street. If the engineer doesn't get himself onto the one roadbed,
yeah, the one that's undercut, right?
2.5 foot below grade. I remember seeing a car carrier with the whole car carrier was convertible Ford Econoline vans.
They can get as far north as 95th Street, and they have to be routed up onto the NS, the elevated. Otherwise, they won't fit under that bridge. They won't fit under the bridge at Grand Crossing. I've seen military vehicles reduced to rubble going underneath the bridge at Grand Crossing.
Yeah. Well, that one bridge up in North Chicago, EJ&E crosses over the line there. They tried putting that. I've seen a couple of high and wide to get it. A couple of the new auto carriers.
I don't have it with me, the paperwork, but the CN's attempt to merge with the KCS has been shot down by the Surface Transportation Board or some government agency who thought their idea for financing it was a little hinky. And there may be hope for the CP.
Well, let's see. Well, CP's still trying to get. No, CSX is. They're going after. CP has made noises about it, but CSX is pursuing to get the Pan American.
Right, and that's another one that's.
And I'm sitting there going, nah. CSX gets a hold of that. There goes the passenger service.
Yeah, there's been that's been under a lot of scrutiny too. That's not may or may not happen. There's no guarantee that they're going to get it. They've been claiming that they're going to do all these wonderful things to accommodate the change, and
they've said that before.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Who believes the CSX? I don't believe the CN either.
No.
I believe CSX every time a dividend check comes out.
Oh, yeah. You got stock?
I inherited stock from my aunt who worked for the B&O.
Okay.
Along with the Demitas cup and saucer from the Capital Limited. Yes, very pretty, and it is the one thing of mine in my wife's china cabinet.
God. She let you put it in there, eh?
I've got, I guess, what they call like a chafing dish or maybe a little candy dish.
Yeah.
Little oblong plate. Peacock paint scheme from Milwaukee Road.
There used to be a restaurant at Lincoln Highway and Wolf Road. Used to be, because when they decided to widen Lincoln Highway, Eminent Domain got the building. He had a picture frame. Had to be 7 foot wide. Had to be 5 foot tall. Inside the picture frame was a complete set of the porcelain and flatware from the Pennsylvania Railroad. A single dinner service, but complete. The dish, the salad dish, the bread dish. You know, all the flatware. The
whole 9 yards.
The embroidered linen napkin.
We should talk about railroad dining sometime.
Yeah,
it's
I
quite
mean,
the thing.
Because I got both of Porterfield's books. I love the recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play with the recipes.
Henry Kaiser's book, Zephyr, had some great recipes in it.
And they did amazing things out of those little tiny kitchens.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
I was really surprised because
Hey, they inspired the subservice.
you know they talk. The kitchen was, component parts, and they talk about switching out a toaster at the Amtrak commissary at 18th Street. Just, here's the bad one, here's the good one. See you on the West Coast.
Well, that's how you do some of it. But I mean, they were looking at space, and the subs found out the railway kitchens are pretty handy, economical.
There was one recipe in there. The cook was supposed to serve trout for dinner, and the salad was supposed to have a salad dressing, dry salad dressing, and he'd whip it up, and he took all the spices that were supposed to go in the salad dressing, mixed it with a little vinegar and oil, and used it for a marinade for the trout. Upgraded the dinner service, and then, just created some other kind of, I think he created a vinaigrette for the salad. But yeah, I mean, really good recipes.
Well, it seems we might be coming to the end of the line.
Bumping post ahead.
Not quite. Waiting to pass the tower first.
Okay. Are we lined up?
I'm looking.
I'm reminded of a comment that our mentor, John Ryan, used to make. Ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching the station. Please gather your packages and your children. We don't want your children either.
Of course, I put everything away. Put them away too soon. Our express comes into the terminal. We want to thank you for joining us on our journey through the wonderful world of trains. Chicago Junction is a production of the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and can be listened to on the web at www.windycityhometown.com, where you can listen to tonight's broadcast and all our past episodes. And you also may want to sample some of the other fine programs that are being offered. Till next month when we journey to Chicago Junction, this is your announcer, Brian Blue, saying happy rails to you. And good night, Mr. Ryan, wherever you are.
You have been listening to Chicago Junction on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Wednesday, September the 8th, the year 2021. Chicago Junction was produced and directed by John DeVita, and our special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Chikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Wednesday, September the 8th, the year 2021. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.